when your warranty records are this long, you had an idea. But when the lawsuit gets filed, you know. The Lemon Law says that if a vehicle is defective after so many repair attempts and you bought it brand new, the manufacturer must buy it back from you or trade you into another product. So let's suppose you bought a brand new vehicle for $30,000. You're driving it for a while and the engine fails. You take it to the dealership, they think they fixed it, give it back to you, engine fails again. This happens a bunch of times, and then it hits the threshold of becoming a lemon. So an attorney like myself will contact the manufacturer and say, my client's got a lemon. Will you buy it back from them or trade them into a new product? Most states say you don't have to take a new product unless you're willing to do that. And I've got clients before, so I'll never buy another product from that manufacturer again. Never buy a product from that manufacturer again. Understandable. But they'll take the money back because money is money, right? However, it's not uncommon that a manufacturer, when they're faced with a Lemon Law buyback, is looking at it going, okay, they're buying the vehicle back. The dealership is the one who sold it. So the manufacturer actually spends more money buying these things back, and then they have to ship them to auctions. There's auction fees, transport costs. If they sell it with an extended warranty, there's extended warranty costs. All this stuff gets tacked on. It's very expensive for them to buy a vehicle back. But in many states, the manufacturer has got to refund the sales tax and interest to the consumer. But then they can apply to the state to get a refund of the sales tax. However, that's such a pain in the rear end that many manufacturers don't even bother doing it. But on the other hand, if they do it, it's still paperwork. And imagine trying to get tax dollars back from your state capital. And it's, by the way, it's in every single state because they're buying a car back in Michigan, it's Lansing, they're buying a car back in California, it's Sacramento. It's a nightmare logistically to buy a car back. So the other option that they often make is they'll say, how about this? You keep the car. We'll cut you a check for 10 grand. Sometimes they'll cut a check in cash, meaning that you can do whatever you want with it. Sometimes they'll say, we'll give you trade assistance, and it depends on the manufacturer. I remember a time when they used to call it a coupon, and they'd say, we'll give you a coupon for $5,000 or a coupon for $10,000. And you go, what's the coupon mean? It means that you can take this coupon into any one of our dealers, and they'll accept this as cash, as if it's cash. This is not funny money that's got some discounted value. And I know this because I once had a car where I had a problem with a car that I'd bought used, but it was a manufacturing defect, and I discovered that the person who owned the car before me hadn't lemon lawed it, but they got so sick of it, I think they traded it in. And the problem kept happening to me. And at the time, I knew the attorney at Chrysler really well. And I called this guy up and I said, hey, look, I got this defective car. It breaks timing belts, which don't get me going about timing belts. Timing chains are what God intended. Timing belts are of the devil. So broke timing belts like they're disposable, okay? Which they are. And he goes, okay, buy it new or used. I go, let me give you the VIN. And he goes, okay. And I gave him the VIN, and he typed the VIN into his thing, and he goes, we'll buy it back. And he goes, wait, I can't buy it back. It's used. I'll give you a coupon. I go, how much? And he gave me a substantial coupon. And I took that, it was a Dodge product, into a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, blah, 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 dealership. And I traded that in with the coupon on a Jeep, brand new Jeep. And the funny thing is, when I was negotiating to purchase the Jeep, I go, I got this vehicle here. I've had some issues with it because they knew. It was currently running. It was still under warranty. It's going to snap into the timing belt, if you look at it funny, but that's a third owner's problem, okay? But when I was negotiating, the guy goes, how much money have you got? I gave him the dollar value of how much cash I had plus my coupon. And he goes, okay, not a problem. And so when we went to seal the deal, I pulled the coupon out. The guy didn't even flinch. He goes, oh, Chrysler coupon, great. And I got full dollar value for that. So when someone comes to my office and they say, how could this case settle? What are my possible outcomes? I go, best case scenario, they buy the car back from you, full value, refund of everything, your interest payments, your taxes, everything. You get all your money back. And they pay my attorney fees. Now, there's a mileage offset. If you drove the vehicle and got some use out of it, you'll lose a little bit for the mileage offset in most states. But it's not that big. So if you drove the car 1,000 miles, you might only get 99% of your money back. Okay, they often prorate it over 100,000 miles. No big deal. I go, they might offer to trade you, although they've been doing less and less of that lately. Or they might offer you cash or a coupon. I've had people say, what do you mean cash? Will they give me $30,000 on it? No. Car cost you $30,000. But if they cut you a check for $10,000 right now, would you be happy? And they go, oh, you know something? I might be. But then they go, what do I do now? I go, well, there's a couple things you could do. You could take that vehicle into a dealership with that $10,000 in cash and trade yourself into something else. Or you could tell yourself, I didn't spend 30 in this car, I spent 10 on the car. Now suddenly it doesn't hurt so bad, does it? Oh, and I say, or you can just take it and throw a party. Who cares? The point is, it's money. And so that always is a possibility. And I've had people say, but Steve, if I take the car and trade it in and I use this money on something else, that car becomes someone else's problem. And I go, yeah, it's a good thing. And they go, but I'm going to feel bad about that. And I say, no, trade it in at a dealer and they'll know. If they run the VIN, they'll know. And they'll probably try to fix it and they'll probably sell it and that'll be that. But the buyback possibilities are the full buyback, the trade into another identical vehicle, identical value, or a coupon or cash. And like I said, the coupons are less common these days, but it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. And the amount of cash, by the way, is always negotiable. They call me up and say, we'll give you $5,000. I'll call my client and go, well, I might be able to get you 10. We go from there. Yeah, because the primary problem with a vehicle going through the lemon law is it makes it extremely difficult for the manufacturer or the dealer to say, oh, we had no idea. Well, when your warranty records are this long, you had an idea. But when the lawsuit gets filed, you know. Most states, it's 30 days down. If the vehicle's out of service, that is in the shop for 30 days, it becomes a lemon. In the old days, it was extremely uncommon with your more pedestrian cars. If you have a Ford Escort or a Ford F-150 where there's a billion of them on the road, parts of those cars are a dime a dozen. Those things aren't spending 30 days in the shop unless there's something really unusual going on that nobody can figure out. But on the more exotic cars, parts availability is a problem. And also, ever since COVID, the supply chains have been all screwed up and they have not recovered. And there might be other things playing into that, politics and so on. I don't know and I don't care. All I know is I've gotten a lot of phone calls in the last couple of years. People say, I bought a car. It's nothing spectacular. It's one of the big three. And something's funky with the engine or the transmission or both. I took it in and they actually said, we don't know what's wrong with it. Or we do know, but we can't get parts. It's going to depend on the state and how the law is written in every state. Because all 50 states have got lemon laws. Some are written differently. And so the lemon law says that you will get back the money you paid to the dealership to purchase that car. So if you paid more or less than it was worth, I've had people who got a real steal on a car because they paid way below sticker. And they're like, Steve, I want sticker. And I'm like, you didn't pay sticker. And on the other hand, people who paid way over are like, I want that money back. And then the manufacturer's like, we never authorized them to tack another 50 grand onto that car because it's hot. And there's always been that tension, by the way, between dealerships and the manufacturers. The manufacturer comes out with some car. They got a limited edition hot run of these cars. They could sell them all day long, but they're not going to build that many of them. And a dealership gets an allocation of 1 or 2. And they put it in the showroom floor. They put stanchions around it with velvet ropes. And they go, we're taking bids. Someone buys that car way over sticker and it becomes a lemon. There's going to be a huge fight with the manufacturer going, that bump is not something we should be responsible for. But it's going to depend on how it's worded in that particular state. So don't forget, MSRP is manufacturer's suggested retail price. And in the old days, I used to talk to people about just car buying advice. And I'd often tell people that MSRP or the window sticker, they're going to act like, oh no, this is carved in stone. We can't change this number. It's carved. No, it's written on a piece of paper and it's negotiable. Everything's negotiable. And the internet is probably the thing that car sellers hate the most because a smart shopper can go on the internet and find out what these cars are really selling for. I got friends now who routinely buy cars from 5 or 6 states away because they found a deal that was so good that it was going to crush any deal they could find locally. Now, there's a whole danger about buying cars on the internet, but that's another thing. When it comes to pricing, you can do so much research to find out what a good price is for a car.
If you get a ticket, the first thing you should do is text a picture of it to 305-305. That will get the ticket clinic on your case immediately. You'll be facing costly fines, risks of suspension, possible jail time, points on your license, higher insurance premiums, and a lot of bad things that they can help you to avoid. You can also find them at the link in the description below, but the Ticket Clinic is a nationwide law firm with brick and mortar offices in Georgia, Florida, and California, but they've got attorneys everywhere, and that's what's most important because a local attorney will know exactly how the local laws work, know the people who are in charge, and get you the best outcome possible. So text a picture of your ticket to 305-305 or click the link in the description below to fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.